Since it is Christmas week, we need to do an inventory. Not to number the presents we bought or to count the money that we spent, but to investigate our attitude and see how we're looking at this Christmas season. Good morning, I'm Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Thursday. Let's examine the attitudes of the characters that are in the Christmas story we read in Luke chapter 2. We know it had been a troublesome time for Mary, since she was found to be pregnant, yet she knew she had never been with a man. She had heard the announcements from the angels about the birth of Jesus, but that perhaps made her even more anxious, knowing what this might bring. So she and Joseph, now very far along in the pregnancy, are having to travel to Bethlehem for the census. They travel some 90 miles over rough terrain, and they did not come in a comfortable vehicle either. She was met with the idea that there was no room in the inn for her, and yet she was about to give birth to a baby. And when the baby was born, these angels appeared out of nowhere, coming from their fields and telling them about the angels and the announcement of the birth of the Savior. Now, all of this might have been too overwhelming for a young mother without all the other worries that she had already been facing with Joseph. But in Luke chapter 2 and verse 19, it says, Mary pondered these things in her heart. She was holding the memories and these great announcements close to her chest as a marker for the days that they would face ahead with Jesus. At first, these announcements may have seemed overwhelming, but now she is seeing God move in so many miraculous ways that she realizes she can trust him through all of this. The announcement of the Savior is so much bigger than just her and Joseph. Now, as the shepherd said, this is the Savior. It is Christ the Lord, that long-awaited Messiah that the Jews had heard about some hundreds of years before is now finally come. And it means everything to the Jewish people, certainly would mean everything to the world for that matter. And as Mary pondered these things in her heart, she's reminded that God is faithful to his promises, faithful in his prophecies about the Messiah. That all come true. It also means that God is drawing near to man in an unprecedented way. They will now have a new high priest that is so much more approachable than the ones that they've had to deal with before. And as we celebrate Christmas, what kind of things will we ponder in our hearts? Perhaps God's faithfulness? Perhaps God's Son in the flesh that came to live among lowly men? The Savior will forever change the way we deal with sin in our lives. He has come. He has paid the price. He has made forgiveness possible. Let's ponder this week all those things that Christ really means rather than what the world is trying to throw at us during the Christmas season.